We've come all the way around, haven't we?
Can you clarify something for me?
Yes, and then we'll come here.
Okay, I have a little misunderstanding here. So I watched my mother from the time I was a little kid telling me and Jesse and my brother and sister, you know, your great-grandmother died of stroke, your grandmother died of stroke, I'm going to die of stroke, you know, my mother, and you should point to little me. You are going to die of a stroke someday. She'd say that over and over and over again, and I'd say, I'm not going to die of a stroke. But maybe you will, Mother, I would say. And, of course, Mother did. And then I watched Daddy, even before cancer was popular. I mean, I don't think I heard it from anyone other than him. It wasn't a word that was around. But Daddy had this thing about cancer. Every time he was always getting a little biopsy of this and a biopsy of that and a biopsy of this and a biopsy of that. And he went with something he didn't have a biopsy of, but, you know, a cancer. But it wasn't one he had planned on at all. And so when you say to what you just said to us just now, that when we focus on what we're not wanting, that we're just simply disconnecting from the energy, that gives me the impression then that we're not adding energy, that Mother or Daddy couldn't have then created what they were focusing on because it was what they didn't want, that I would think then they wouldn't have had it because the energy would have shut off. Now, what did I miss out on?
Isn't illness lack of wellness? You see, this now, stay with us just for a moment. We really want you to hear this. We started here today.
Okay.
Because you've become such communicators, and because you believe so much in your words and action, when you're not satisfied in saying wellness, you have to identify the lack of wellness. And you're not satisfied in just calling all that stuff lack of wellness. You want to identify it as illness. So, stay with us.
Okay, I'm listening.
So what you're saying to us is, by looking at cancer, they created cancer.
That's what I thought.
By looking at well, that's what happened. But here's the clarification. By looking at cancer or at having a stroke, they created that, which means it sounds like the energy flowed and allowed them to create it. But what is cancer or a stroke? It's the absence of well-being. And so the energy didn't help them create. The energy only helps you create what is wanted, what you consider to be good, what is good. And when you disconnect from it, the absence of that is what occurs. But you see, this is a very essential point that we are bringing, that you are bringing forth here, because you have come to. You look into this arena of physical experience and you want to line everything up. That's a good thing, that's a bad thing, that's a good thing, that's a bad thing. And if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would say, that's a good thing, 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 that's a bad thing, that's a good thing, that's a good thing, that's a good thing, that's a bad thing, that's a good thing, In other words, you would put so much more emphasis upon what is wanted. But somehow they've trained you to believe that objectivity is intelligence, and that if you're not willing to wallow in all of the negative stuff, that you cannot really understand all of the positive stuff. Well, now it sounds a little bit like that's some of what we were delivering to you here today, because we say if you don't have the ability to know what you don't want, you don't have the ability to know what you do want. But you must feel. That's what your guidance system is about, to let you use this physical arena for identification. In other words, we would say snoop, nose around, evaluate, collect data long enough to discover what no is. And in the moment that you know what no is, you know what yes is, and then spend the rest of your life saying yes relative to that subject. And then nose around a little more until you define what no is, and then shout it loud enough that you really mean it, loud enough that you feel the eruption of what yes is, and then spend the rest of your life saying yes. And forget this objectivity. It is not of great value to you. Is that helpful?
I'll listen to it again.
We thought it was brilliant.